Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli, and this is the Vigorelli Institute. Now, I had a request from a viewer, and also I think bought my book, so go ahead and check that out. It's on Amazon. Just Google my name, just search my name on Amazon, Richard Vigorelli. That'll pop right up. Okay, so, asked me, I really liked my thing on True Blood. So, wants me to do Harry Potter. Here we go. Alright, so let's set things up. Harry Potter exists in a world where magic is normal. Okay? There is a group of people that are able to do this. They have a genetic ability to manipulate energy and matter around them, which is all magic is. They can do this through gestures, they can do this through spoken word, they can do this with a stick. Okay? And comes at some really interesting effects. Now, according to Harry Potter, it is a secret society of humans that live amongst regular humans. They go to school, they intermarry within themselves, and the non-magic users, the muggles or the no-mages, are none the wiser. Wrong. That is illogical. So why is it illogical? Well, I'll tell you. The ability to use magic would give an immense competitive advantage, okay? Especially if magic has existed all throughout human history. So, never mind Hogwarts, never mind Ministry of Magic, never mind Wizards Guild, yada yada yada. Let's go all the way back to when civilization was nothing more than a quasi-permanent residence, sharp sticks, flux stones, and fire, and that's it. Haven't even figured out if I put this rock-looking thing that a plant grows out of into the ground, and I'm nice to it, it'll grow another plant, and then I can eat those things. Haven't even gotten there yet. So all forms of food are hunting animals or foraging for various berries, leaves, roots, tubers, bugs, mollusks, etc. Okay? Basically whatever you can eat and it doesn't kill you. That's food. Okay? And some people want to do this. I'll get into diets later. Anyway, so let's pretend that I am a hunter-gatherer dude, and I got my spear, which is basically a long stick that I ripped off of a tree, and I rubbed it down into a point and then stuck that point into the fire to harden it, okay? Which, by the way, is a fantastic piece of technology, especially for this time. That's like hardcore stuff, man, okay? So, I go out there and I find me a nice little deer or whatever and throw. I hit it, goes in, and the deer doesn't fall down. I didn't hit it just right. Instead, it runs off. And I'm like, oh, I gotta track it. Okay, fine. So I go and truck after it, and I find it, and it's fallen down, the spear's sticking up. Okay, if it's not dead, it's thinking about it, and there's somebody else standing over it. And I'm like, hey, that's mine. He says, oh, I know, I watched you launch the spear. I thought I'd help you out. Well, what did you do? I don't see any other spear in it. He said, oh, I just snapped my fingers and fell over. You're welcome. Here's your spear, dude. Since I helped you out, can I have a little piece? Yeah, I guess. Thanks. Hey, how did you do that? Oh, it's this thing. It's called magic. Super cool. Okay. So now look at the implication of this interaction. Me, being a non-magic user, I have to use a tool / weapon to get my food. Okay? Yes, I could go vegetarian, but I don't think there's enough berry bushes. Okay? So I have to not only find the animal, but successfully land a blow against the animal, and the animal not get away or get eaten by something else. Okay? That's a ton of risk. Ton of energy can be expended. Now, me eating the animal will easily recuperate that, plus some, so it's not a net loss. I'm fine. Magic user, on the other hand, has a distinct competitive advantage. The only thing he's got to do is that. And he wins. That is immense. Now, without going into the energetic cost of magic, I'm willing to bet it is tiring for him to do it. You know, it's no more probably than running up a hill really fast. Be wounded for a few minutes and then he's fine. Okay? That's huge. Now, we would probably either start out as friends, or I'd be extremely jealous and suspicious of him, and we would instantly become enemies. However, since he can do that and make a deer fall down, what do you think he can do to me? Okay, so I may want to steer clear of this guy, all right? So time progresses, and I tell everybody about it, and we end up being friends. Now, because this guy can do a lot of stuff, I get him to do things for me. Now, he's going to want something in exchange for his time. So he says, you know, I give you all of this. How's about I call the shots? So that because I kind of know better what you need. And, you know, then you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, okay, we can do that. Okay. So we get a new chief. This guy's a magic user. He's actually pretty cool. His kids are magic users, and they start rising to power ever more. And me and my kids very steadily lose our rights. We very steadily lose our autonomy until eventually we're basically working for the guy, and he just sits at home doing whatever it is he does. Okay? What is that called? Yeah. Okay? This would be pretty common in the Stone Age or maybe even Bronze Age world because of the distinct competitive advantage that magic would afford. Now, on the other side, let's say we become instant enemies. I go and get all of my friends and we gang up on this guy and beat him up. Okay? That is going to force him and his kind to retreat away from us. So we settle in completely different areas and we don't talk. Okay? Here's the thing about humans. Humans are very territorial. If you don't believe me, we call them countries. Okay? We also tend to be kind of mean and aggressive. If you don't believe me, we call them countries. So, one of the things that's going to happen is as these two different groups begin to grow and populate, different cultures are going to be created within them. And suspicion about the other one is going to become very common, which will lead to other things. Okay? Either somehow we'll start talking to each other and things will get easier, or B, we just fight. One eventually beats the other one and usually enslaves them. Okay? Or just wipes them out. Pretty normal. Okay? So, as that progresses and land gets ever more scarce and ever more colonized, actual nation-states are going to rise up. Now, some of those nation-states will be a mix of magic and non-magic individuals. Others will be completely non-magic, others will be completely magic. It just depends. Way too many variables in play here to say for certain. So, depending on how the politics are, and depending on how charismatic one or either group is, will depend on who the leader is. Now, in some societies, the magic users will occupy the upper class. They will be the ruling class, they will be the noble class, and the non-magic users will serve them. Others, if the magic users are of lesser number than the non-magic users, and the non-magic users are able to subjugate the magic users for whatever reason, then the magic users will become very utilitarian. There may even be limits placed upon them, such as you can do this kind of magic, but you're not allowed to touch this kind of magic. That's not allowed. And certain regulations will be put in place. Now, because of these regulations, eventually what is called a young Turk, which is a person usually just come of age that decides they want to make the world a better place. We had a few of those last year. They're gonna move into kind of an open rebellion or start some kind of political shift, something like that. And the whole nature of that world will change around. Okay? This means in many areas, things like democracy, republicanism, and full-blown authoritarianism would actually come up much sooner than they did in our world because of necessity. Okay? It would be very, very spectacular. As a result of this, the languages, the cultures, the countries, even, the names of places that we know in our world could not possibly exist in this world. Okay? It just couldn't. There's too many variables in play. There's too many changes in the way noble families interact. There's too many differences in the way common people interact. Technology would follow a completely different route. Here's why. Because I can snap my fingers and something falls down, or I can just have a stick and go, "Nyeh," and something happens, the non-magic user is going to go, well, I want to do something cool. So what they're going to do is they are going to come up with ways to either create a technological effect on par with the magical effect, or they are going to come up with technological means to counteract spells. Okay? Now, at first, the magic's going to be way headed out. Always. Okay? But eventually, the technology is going to catch up. And it will catch up fast, depending on the society, of course, and depending on how much freedom the non-magic users have. Okay? Also, it kind of versus how many magic users are in that society and whether or not they're going to let the regular humans do anything. Okay? If they don't, well, we have a bit of a problem, don't we? Okay. So, once we get up to a technological level on par with our modern day, magic will largely be relegated to being something neat and extraordinary, but probably won't occupy a lot of political power because the tech is able to do something on par, or in some cases, better. Which will lead to another revolution. The magic users will come up with more impressive technology rather than lip and spackle of their stuff, you know. What they'll be able to do is create new spells, new talismans, stuff like that, create their own form of magical technology in order to force themselves above the non-magic users in their tech, which will do this. Okay? An arms race will be created. It's just what happens. Okay? Depending on the society, there will be jobs specifically geared for magic users. There will most likely be either a magical corps in the military, or every single company, platoon, I forget the hierarchy of organization, will likely have one magic user in them, just like every single squad of soldiers is got a communication guy, a heavy hitter guy, a small arms guy, and a medical guy, okay, depending on what you're doing. So it would be very, very normal for magic users to be in the military in one given society. Other society, they would be completely barred. Others, the regular humans would be barred. It's just based on politics. Okay? So, that's about all I've got for what it would be like if magic actually existed in the world. If you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment. Feel free to leave in the comment another IP that you would like me to look at. And also, if you want, pop over to Patreon. I do have a Patreon page, and you can go ahead and become a patron of mine, make suggestions to videos. Every single patron will be mentioned in the subsequent video, okay? Either by a name written, or if you actually said, dude, I want you to do this, I will say your name. Promise. Okay? Or whatever. Okay. So, I'll talk to you later, guys, and I'm actually going to be back with a part 2 on, let's just say, Hogwarts exists, okay? Look at the reality of that world. So, I'll be back later, guys. Bye-bye.